to go over in detail a little more about the kind of setups that I look for and the kind of strategies I use. So let's go over pound dollar from a few months ago. Price has been sitting in this zone, and once I saw this rejection of the zone for the third time, creating this triple top, and it's kind of a daily 50 EMA rejection after this massive Brexit fall. So this bearish candle signaled for me to start looking at the intraday and see what's going on and see if there's some trend change in the making or about to happen. So when you go down to the 4-hour chart, 4-hour chart does have this ascending trend line here, and you can see that price had topped out at the top of this zone and then started to break down. So the 1-hour chart is still very much bullish. We have a higher low, higher high, still a higher low. But after this higher low developed, forming this bearish candle on the daily, what I like to do and what I often do is just take my fib and I'll draw it in and I'll see what price does. I mean, this line right here is the bottom of our zone here. And if price does pull back, it could create a head and shoulder pattern. So I like to draw the fib in. We had a break of the H150 that was being respected here. So this could lead to a downside move. So I like to draw in my fib, look to see how price is responding to this level right here, and then you can act. And I do the same stuff over and over, and it's just once I start seeing some sort of movement, you can just hide your stop behind the 618. And I like to target this 236 extension. It seems like it plays out so often, and it's such a good target to use. So this is what I did on this trade. I just drew my fib in, waited for price to pull back, and price could have just shot up, and I could have just let it go. But once I saw this rejection, it was kind of cueing me in that we do have this head and shoulder pattern. We do have this daily rejection here. So then I started looking for, so this is what I would call my A move or my anticipation move. And I call it that because we're anticipating trend change. There is no trend change yet. We are still very much bullish. We are forming higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. This right here is the beginning, the very beginning of a trend change. This is your lower high here. And once you get that lower high and you get that trend confirmation, then I like to move on to what I call my M move or my momentum moves, which came a couple days later after we had price completely collapse down below this trend line I had drawn in. And I did the same thing. I basically just grabbed my fib tool, drew it in, and price pulled back perfectly to the trend line, 618 retracement. We had a high test candle. We had all this deceleration here. And as soon as price started to break down, usually on the 5-minute chart, I'll take an entry with same thing, stops right above 618 and my target being this 236 extension. So this is what's nice to do. I mean, you can play it as a momentum play where you already have that confirmation, or you can do these anticipation moves where you're anticipating price and you're kind of waiting for price to actually prove itself before you're actually acting.